The New York Yankees suffered another brutal loss last night where their offense couldn't get it going. They got shut out again in back-to-back games. This is one of their worst offensive stretches as a team in quite a long time. I believe this is their lowest OPS over a 5-game stretch since 1990, and they may need to look for a bat at the deadline, especially in the infield. If the Yankees choose to do that, Eugenio Suarez could prove to be a very interesting piece for the Yankees, as Buster Olney of ESPN reports that if the Diamondbacks choose to sell, and if Suarez is one of the pieces they dangle at the deadline, that the Yankees would be in on him. Now, Suarez is entering his age 33 season and is in the final year of his contract, so he'll be a free agent at the end of the 2025 season. He has hit 21 home runs in 71 games, slashing .233, .307, and .527 for a 127 weighted runs created plus. Now, the New York Yankees are in a situation where their offense is sputtering, but I'm not overall panicked about their ability to hit as a team, but I definitely do wonder if they're going to need another bat at the deadline, and I have said multiple times that Eugenio Suarez is someone who would really help this offense. His ability to hit for power is something that would upgrade the Yankee offense a ton, giving them another premium power hitter who can come up in big spots and clear the bases when the Yankees need that. Suarez has proven to be a really, really good power hitter at the position. He is second among third basemen in home runs dating back to last year with 51, trailing Jose Ramirez of the Cleveland Guardians by just 1 home run. If you want to expand this sample size to 2022, Eugenio Suarez is one of just 5 third basemen to hit at least 100 home runs over that stretch, including Jose Ramirez, who is tied with Austin Riley for first, Eugenio Suarez, who is behind them by 1 home run with 104, Rafael Devers, who's 1 home run behind Suarez with 103, and Manny Machado, who's a home run behind Devers at 5. So the Yankees would be getting a premium power hitter, one of the best power hitters at the position. This would allow them to move Jazz Chisholm back to second base, where I believe he is just a better defensive player and has a better feel for the position. Chisholm is still prone to making some very sloppy mistakes at third base, despite the fact that he's ridiculously talented there and someone who I actually believe can play a positive third base. This is me nitpicking someone who I believe is a very quality defender at the position, and nitpicking because I think that you'd rather have an elite defensive second baseman than a pretty good defensive third baseman, and to go alongside that you have Eugenio Suarez, who is not a great defensive third baseman anymore, used to be a really strong defender there, but has gotten considerably better as the season has gone on. He has cut down his defensive runs saved all the way down to 0, and his outs above average in June, I believe he has +2 or +3 outs above average in the month alone, so he has gotten considerably better at third as the season has gone on, and in his career, he has 22 outs above average and 17 fielding run value at third. I'm not concerned about the defense with Suarez, and even if there are defensive issues, I believe that those defensive issues are going to be something that we can ignore for the power you're going to get with Suarez. Again, that 127 WRC plus, his 21 home runs leads all infielders. Only outfielders and DHs have more home runs than he does this season, and he, again, would immediately become probably the second or third best home run hitter on the team behind Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge. Now, you could argue Stanton is a worse home run hitter. You could argue Suarez is the better home run hitter. We could go back and forth on that, but the fact that your second best home run hitter is someone who's going to probably hit the 40 home run threshold this year is a really good thing for this offense. It makes them deeper. And really importantly, too, I think it just gives them another layer of fear. When we start putting together a Yankee offense and you have Eugenio Suarez in that mix every single day, playing third base, providing that kind of power, pitching staffs are going to be terrified to pitch to the New York Yankees. Yes, he has a low batting average, and yeah, that's concerning for some people. Like .233 is not high, and that .307 OBP is not high, but you're not worried about what he's going to be in the future. You're just worried about what he's going to contribute for you right now. And again, he has a 1.5 WAR in 290 plate appearances. If he gets to the 600 plate appearance threshold, which I believe he will, I think that Eugenio Suarez will end up recording 600 plate appearances this season, barring any injury issues. That means he's on pace for 3.1 WAR. That's a pretty healthy WAR total, and that made it sound like I said the Pokemon WAR total and not WAR total. Anyways, and it's an upgrade over DJ LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu, I think, is actually produced at a pretty solid level considering what you expected from him going into the season. And at second base, he has really rounded out his defense. He's at +3 defensive runs saved and +1 outs above average. But I'll still take Jazz's overall athleticism and his ability to get to baseballs with his excellent range over DJ LeMahieu's defensive abilities at second base. And again, LeMahieu becomes a guy who can bring off the bench, a utility infielder, a guy who can improve your defense. I like that role a lot more for him than everyday starter for the New York Yankees. And that is not a slight at LeMahieu. It is not a diss on LeMahieu. It is not specific to LeMahieu, but when you can make your team better, you should. And when you consider that he has some injury concerns, that being LeMahieu, you should absolutely be prepared to lose him. And Jazz also comes with his own injury concerns. He's already been on the IL once this year. He had a groin issue right after returning from the IL. He hit the IL last year with an elbow issue. He has not played 150 games, I believe, at any point in his career. Yeah, that has not happened for him at any point in his career. So you have to be prepared to lose Jazz Chisholm, and you have to be prepared to lose DJ LeMahieu at any point in time. And currently, the Yankees are not prepared to do that. Their bench is not equipped to handle that. Oswald Peraza is, I'm sorry, not good enough. And Eugenio Suarez would give the Yankees just that extra oomph, that extra firepower. And again, it allows you to replace Peraza with LeMahieu, which is a huge, huge upgrade for the Yankees in terms of bench quality. Your bench starts to be, one of the four outfielders you're not playing, one of the first baseman / DH types you're not playing between Goldschmidt, Stanton, and Rice, and then DJ LeMahieu and your backup catcher, JC Escarra. That's a really good bench. You have 3 hitters off the bench you can bring off the bench to provide something. Escarra can come off the bench if absolutely necessary to do something, and he's a really good defender behind the plate, so if you have to pinch run for Wells, you can do that. I would love the Yankees to have some more speed off the bench, but because you have Dominguez, Grisham, and Bellinger who can come off the bench, those are guys who do have some speed and can certainly contribute as pinch runners. You also have so much power depth that as an offense, you should be able to generate runs even in times like this where everyone seems to be slumping at the same time, and when you're also getting some misfortune in terms of batted balls. I tweeted this stat out. The Yankees have, I believe, a 200-point discrepancy in actual and expected slugging percentage over this 4-game or 5-game slump. And look, when we start looking at this as an offense, looking at this team as a whole, we want the Yankees to be able to just hit 1 through 9. We want them to have as little holes as humanly possible. And I believe that it's totally possible for them to have that if, again, they're capable of putting together a deeper lineup, and they have a deep lineup, don't get me wrong, they have depth in the lineup, but if they're capable of getting more guys who can contribute and offer some sort of run production. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the New York Yankees are in a spot where they need to be worried about, they need to be worried about their offense just completely crashing and burning, but they need to be worried about making sure that they don't they shouldn't avoid upgrading the infield because they could use an upgrade in the infield. They should not allow that to be the case, and I hope they don't make that the case. But I believe the Yankees will add at the deadline because they're in a contention spot. They're in a spot in the playoffs. They will make the postseason in all likelihood, and they have to get things turned around as a team right now. But I believe Suarez immediately provides that kind of upgrade. Now, there are some reports from Mike Hazen himself saying that they're not going to be interested in selling at the deadline. So if they choose not to sell, obviously that would suck because Suarez, I think, is a great fit. But we'll have to see how they play the rest of the way. Right now, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 36-35. They're 7 games out of first place. They're 3 games back from third place with the Padres, who have continued to struggle, which might open the door for a team like the Diamondbacks to get back in it. The Cardinals have slumped back to 37-35, so they're not light years ahead. They are still behind the Cardinals, Reds, Brewers, Phillies, Giants, and Padres for a playoff spot. Those are a lot of teams to hurdle, so we'll see if a 500 Diamondbacks team, or maybe even a 2 games below 500 Diamondbacks team, finally caves in and says, all right, we have to sell, we have to recuperate what we can in the offseason or at this deadline. They could also buy and sell. What I wonder is if the Diamondbacks are going to prioritize a pitching-centric return, and in that case, I believe the Yankees have something that's attractive to offer to Arizona. Now, their rotation has been really good, that being the Yankee rotation. It is 4th in Fangraphs wins above replacement this year. I don't want to trade a Major League starting pitcher for a rental, especially a Major League starting pitcher who has multiple years of control. So I'm not interested in trading Clark Schmidt for Eugenio Suarez. I'm not interested in trading Will Warren for Eugenio Suarez, but I might be more interested in trading an upper-level pitching prospect or someone who's in at the AAA level, at the AA level for someone like Suarez. Could that mean trading someone like Cam Schlittler and a 1-for-1 for Suarez? Perhaps. And would that be a deal that would entice the Yankees? I don't know if that's what the Yankees want to do. I don't know if the Yankees would love to trade who I believe is a consensus top 5 prospect of the organization for that. But I do think the Diamondbacks would love that kind of return for Eugenio Suarez. They would love to get, someone who would kind of immediately be their best pitching prospect right now. Actually, slow down a little bit there. I don't know their farm system well enough to say by far their best pitching prospect or anything of the sort, but someone who would be one of their best pitching prospects. If you look at their top prospects right now, none of them, according to Fangraphs, are pitchers. You have Adrian Del Castillo. That is a catcher. Yilber Diaz is perhaps an example of this. Yilber Diaz is one of their better prospects. He's ranked in the top 110 for Fangraphs. He's ranked as their third best prospect. He can throw very hard. But there are concerns about him being a starter. Right now, he has a 7.91 ERA in AAA, and in his brief major league career, he has struggled with getting strikeouts. Does not seem to have great command. May not be a starting pitcher. May end up being a reliever. Schlittler might be as good of a prospect as Diaz is. And if that's the case, and you have a top 5 prospect you're getting in return for Eugenio Suarez, that might be more than worth a return for the Diamondbacks. Again, I don't think the Yankees should 100% dangle Schlittler for Suarez. I like Schlittler a lot, but I'm just saying, I think the Yankees, if they absolutely needed to get a guy, and they absolutely needed to get a deal done, and push came to shove, I do think the Yankees have a player they can offer up who might be a little more expendable given the current state of the rotation. Remember, the only guy who's going to hit free agency in that group right now is Ryan Yarbrough, and that's without Luis Seal in the rotation. That's without Garrett Cole coming back next year. So those are things that you have to factor in as well. The Yankees may have 6 starting pitchers this time next year, and they all are under contract for more than just 2026 as well. Schmidt isn't a free agent until after 2027, I believe. So it does make you wonder a little bit whether the Yankees are going to be more aggressive with trading upper-level pitching prospects. Again, they drafted a lot of pitching prospects. They have a bevy of good ones in the minor leagues, so I do wonder if that's an avenue the Yankees take. Again, referring to Suarez here, he's a perfect power bat for the Yankee offense. He provides so much immediately for that order, and you start stacking together a lineup. You could have a situation where you have Rice leading off, Judge hitting second, you hit Bellinger third, you have someone like Suarez hitting fourth, you have Jazz hitting fifth, and Stanton hitting sixth, maybe swap Stanton and Suarez. But I mean, immediately off the cuff, it's just too much. It's too much power. You can already start putting together a lineup that can really start to mash for you. And again, that's what you want the Yankees to be able to do. You want the Yankees to have a deep lineup. The depth of order needs to be something that you consistently maintain throughout the season. I'm sure this team's going to break out of this funk and this offense is going to start clicking again. And, people are going to say, well, it's because of Aaron Judge. And yes, Aaron Judge is a big part of why they're so good offensively, but the Yankees would still be tied for the American League lead in weighted runs created plus if they did not have Aaron Judge. So I believe that the Yankees are in a spot where their offense is deeper than in years past. They have more power than in years past, but they need to make sure that their offense remains top flight by continuing to acquire guys who, number one, are hitting well, and number two, project to continue to hit well. I don't think they need multiple bats. I think they just need one, and I think that one bat is at the third base position. So I'd love to know what you guys think, though, in the comment section below. I know this is a briefer video, and I will get your prospect report for you tomorrow. That is in the works right now. I apologize. I felt like Monday that was a must talk about episode when they got swept. Then today, this report comes out. I wanted to talk about that as well. And so I'll handle that prospect report and have it for you guys tomorrow. But with that being said, we appreciate your guys' continued support here on the Fireside Yankees page, whether that's our Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, or of course this YouTube page. We have a website, empiresportsmedia.com, where I've got written coverage, and everyone's got written coverage from our website on your favorite New York sports teams, Yankees, Knicks, Giants, etc., etc. And of course, you guys can check me out at Ryan Garcia ESM on Twitter. We'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out, everyone. Let's go, Yankees.
Perfect.